Shot fake, got Demila Brown to go on it, and another miss, and another offensive rebound. And it'll
Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfies Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. We're going to have the coach on in just a second. I want to give everybody a heads up from home. It's really been phenomenal. What do you attribute that to?
I think you take away the distractions of being at home. You know, you're just in a hotel with your team. We've got team meetings, we have shoot around, not a lot of other things you can do on the road when you're in a hotel, but really concentrate on the game. And I just think that our focus on the road has just been a little bit more. Sometimes obviously playing in Mackey is awesome, but with our young team, I think the pressure, sometimes I feel like it kind of gets to us a little bit. And I think that kind of went away in that Indiana game because the crowd was so big. And hopefully, you know, on Thursday against Minnesota, we can, you know, just calm the nerves and feel really confident about who we are.
You went back on the road then, talking about being on the road and not having much to do, and I'll just get the elephant out of the room right now. Congratulations, by the way, to the Kansas City Chiefs. For those who don't know, Katie Gearlds a huge Chiefs fan. I grew up near Buffalo. We did have a wager, which I will pay off here probably before the end of the night, but it was a great football game and really a great weekend in the NFL. I mean, if you didn't enjoy those 4 football games, I don't know what you'll enjoy.
All 4 of them, right? But especially Saturday, the way Tom Brady comes back, the Rams pretty much tried to give that one to him with all the turnovers there, but the entire game, 60-plus minutes of that Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo Bills game was just incredible, and the last 2.5 minutes was just truly special.
It did take me back a little bit to Nashville, the Music City Bowl, although I certainly enjoyed the ending of that game much more than I enjoyed this one. But good luck.
I liked them both equally.
I understand. Well, good luck to the Chiefs, and I'll say all the nice things that we have to say. All right, we'll be back. We'll talk about the Michigan game when we come back. It's the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
41 career double-doubles. Maddie Nolan is having a breakout season from the three-point line, but Leah Brown in many ways ties it all together. How about Purdue winning the opening tip and a beautiful set piece up to Madison Layden to open the scoring?
Katie Gearlds is a competitive person. She was a competitive player. She understands what it takes to connect with these student athletes. And, the greatest compliment you can have is Madison Layden knocks down another shot. She was very lucky in the sense that the injury she had against IUPUI wasn't the end of this season for her, and she's worked her way to come back. There's just as much mental preparation as physical preparation to get yourself back on the floor.
Great stuff. Ellis again with the shot clock winding down, but she drains the 3. That's what Purdue needs to stay in this game. They've held 3 of their last 4 opponents below 50 as well, so Michigan's defense perhaps the most impressive part of this 4-game win streak. Just outside 2 minutes to go until halftime. Moore with a friendly roll. Tries to drive on the guard, and Harden again walls up, and here's Abby Ellis. Harden for 3. Her first of the game. How about that defense to offense, Steph? Michigan off to its best start in program history, 16-2. Wolfman all alone underneath. Those 2 3-pointers by Nolan, by the way, also Michigan's first 2 of the game. Layden responds. Final minute of the 3rd. Terry. Layla Felia blocks the shot, but then on the second try, guess who? Ava Learn.
COVID and everything else, it's the timing of when are you playing these teams? Are they at full strength? Are they not at full strength?
Boilermakers and the Minnesota Golden Gophers on Thursday. We'll get to that game in just a minute. Want to remind all of our fans listening tonight, especially those watching on Facebook, we're going to have a little quiz later on. All-time Purdue scores in the WNBA. And we'll ask you to list those and see if you're right. We'll do it in our Pro Boilers segment a little bit later on. We want to say hello to Ira in Wisconsin, Rhonda in Remington, John in Littlestown, Pennsylvania, our good friend Brianne Butler, and Terry down from Southern Indiana. Thank you for tuning in tonight. You go on the road against a Michigan team that is very experienced. I mean, you look at their lineup. I think they start 4 seniors and a junior that have a ton of playing experience. And certainly, if not the best player, was one of the best players in the Big Ten, Naz Hillman, and she was up to her billing last night, unfortunately.
Yeah, she makes life for Michigan really easy. Made it really tough for us. I think probably my favorite player in the league, and it's not just her ability to play basketball. Her motor never stops. The kid just constantly plays hard, constantly competes, and you know, a 13-point game. And honestly, I know a lot of people I talk to today like, oh, you know, Katie, you guys played hard. You know, you compete. And I'm kind of getting tired of hearing that, right? Like, I want to figure out how to win one of these games.
Yep.
But at the same time, I don't think that we played well. And our team doesn't think that we played well. We competed. We played hard, absolutely. But we don't feel like we played well. And because we competed and we played hard, that's why it was close, right? We cut it to 2 there in the third. Then we cut it back to – they pushed it to 8. We cut it back to 3 because we played hard. Now it's just the little things of making sure we execute the small details to figure out how to win one of those games. You
know, the one thing about Hillman, a little bit like Monica Sonano at Iowa, you can try and bring a double team on her, but she gets the ball up. And I know a couple times you tried last night with Cass. She just turns the ball in that case and shoots over the top, but she makes her decisions quickly.
Yeah, we're not really big inside. And, you know, after the game, I think KBA said that they exposed, you know, we know what our weaknesses is, you know, like we know, giving up points in the paint is not our, you know, it just happens against us. And obviously we wanted to make it a little bit tougher for Naz, especially in the first half, the way she ran in transition and just kind of buried Cass, and our attention to detail, ball pressure on the perimeter, just making life for her more difficult inside was just, we just weren't there. In the second half, I thought we really picked it up. We cut it to 2. Then we give a ball side help. They hit a 3. We miss a layup in transition. They hit another 3. And it's just like, you know, like we worked so hard to get back. And then that was just kind of a deflating moment for our basketball team. But, hey, we fought back. You know, we cut it to 3 again. And then they go on an 11-2 run.
You know, you said after the game last night, and I agreed, having seen most of the top teams in the Big Ten in person, I think Michigan right now is the best team in the conference.
Without a doubt in my mind. You know, Maryland is really talented. Indiana is so good, too. Obviously, they miss Mackenzie Holmes, and they're going to miss her for the stretch that she's out. Iowa can really score it. But the focus that Michigan has on the defensive end, their attention to detail, their physicality, the way they play makes it really, really hard to score.
And if sometimes officials will dictate early in the game how they're going to let the game be called, I thought they let both teams be pretty physical last night, which really played to Michigan's advantage.
Yeah, because you know, I don't think that we're not a physical team, but Michigan's physicality just overpowered us. You know, you kind of want to set that tone that first 5 minutes and be the one to punch first. But Michigan definitely punched us first, and they kept on swinging. I felt like we were on our heels all night.
Brooke Moore gave you instant offense, though, off the bench, and she leads the Big Ten in players coming off the bench in conference games and scoring. She's a great weapon you can bring off as a sixth player. She has to be in the running this year for Sixth Player of the Year in the conference.
Yeah, you'd think so. She's really bought into her role and done a really good job of, you know, staying the course with us. And you know, it's not just her ability to score, but when she's locked into scout, locked into defensive assignments, it makes everyone's job around us a little bit easier. All
right, we're coming to you from Wolfies. We'll have more in 2 minutes. It's the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. This is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Another offensive rebound for this time Ellis. Outside to Harding for 3. It goes. And Purdue leads 3-0. Ellis will try a 3 herself and drain it. shooter's touch there. A lot of short passes here for Purdue. Probably because Illinois was so active in those passes. Ellis smacks another one. I think. Pulling it back out. Yeah, no look. Just doing a stick for three.
Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfies Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. Boilermakers and the Gophers on Thursday night. Courtney Delks will join me for that one. And then the Purdue will take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers on Sunday in Lincoln. That'll start at 3 o'clock, and I will work out some signals with you. I know your attention is going to be on the Boilermaker game, but your beloved Chiefs are playing at exactly the same time. So we'll have to figure out some sort of a hand system.
My goodness, it's yeah.
I get it.
I'm going to need to know the score.
I will admit, I will admit to this in public. I have watched a football game while I've done a basketball game before it. You can't do that, but I can do that. I can help you out a little bit.
I'm not going to do. I promise.
I understand.
will not be doing that.
Full focus.
Every timeout, just just give me a thumbs up. Or
you look at where this team has come from to start the season, Katie. You're 12-7 overall. You're 3-5 in the conference. Tomorrow, Thursday night's game marks the midway point of the Big Ten. You only play one team in the top 5 of the conference the second half of the season, and that's Indiana a week from Sunday. So you've gotten a lot of what we consider the most difficult games off the schedule, but that doesn't mean you're going to win all your games in the back half, and you're going to have to continue to fight and play hard.
Yeah, we have to do those things, and we have to lock in on the next game. And right now it's Minnesota. We just have to find a way to win basketball games. And I'd never, I told you, I think the first radio show that we were going to find. I had never been under 500 as a coach, and I didn't plan on being it. A lot of people probably thought I was crazy blowing smoke, but I really firmly believe that, and I just think that our group has really bought in. I understand that we can probably still finish under 500, but I think we just got a group that's going to grind things away. And early in the year when we had won a couple games and it wasn't pretty, the message was like, we're going to keep working, we're going to get better, we're going to get better. And I think from day one to where we are right now, we have gotten better. You
answered the question that somebody asked you early on Facebook, and that is, how do you keep your team on edge with the schedule? And we'll say getting softer. Again, I think that's a misnomer because the schedule is going to remain hard. You've gotten all the top 10 games except for one out of the way going down the stretch, but nothing is given in the Big Ten. You look at some of the results we've seen this season, and teams, Wisconsin the other night comes up with a huge win over Penn State.
Yeah, no day is a day off in the Big Ten, and it will never be that way. Obviously Minnesota has competed with the top teams. They played a top 10 schedule in the country. They have only played the top half, so I know their record doesn't look great, but they are a really good basketball team, and our group understands that. We lost to them twice last year, so our group understands that. The thing about us is it's never about who we're playing, it's always about us, right? Mm-hmm. And what do we have to do to get better each day, and then put together a game plan to give us a chance to win. Right now I love our staff as a whole, and the way we're working as a group to put game plans together, and for the most part our group does a good job of executing those plans.
Katie, I think people are starting to take notice nationally. We saw on the NCAA.com website, Purdue right now is listed as one of the first 4 teams out of the NCAA tournament. Charlie Cream on ESPN today had Purdue in the next 4 out. The fact that you're on that page right now with where you started as the season began, I think it has to be gratifying. Now, there's still work to do, but at least people are starting to notice what's happening here.
Yeah, lots of work to do. I mean, you were at that first practice. You remember the first practice?
I was, and I typed up a resignation letter afterward, but I threw it away.
I think I did too. No, it's we got a group that works and grinds, and they do. They put their head down, and I was not happy with yesterday's performance, and they knew it. and they knew it. They knew they weren't happy with it. And then, day after we got home late off the plane, we practiced today because we've got to prepare for Minnesota. And normally we don't really do a whole lot right after a game, but we got better today. We worked, and our group came in. They were focused in film, a little bit more attentive than normal. I think they see what we have in front of us, obviously taking it one game at a time. And, we have a number that we shoot for, or that we have started to shoot for in terms of something, and that number is on our mind every single day.
A little bit unusual schedule this week. You play Monday, Thursday, Sunday. You have to give them a day off somewhere in the calendar. What's your schedule for the week?
Well, we actually gave them 2 days off last week, so they do not have to have
Put it in the bank. Put it in the bank, get some interest, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Just when you play 3 games in a week, you don't have to give them a day off.
I see.
The week before, the week after, they have to have their 2 days off. So we'll see. If we can come to work on Thursday night and put something good together, there's a good chance they'll have Friday off.
All right. We're going to give you some time off here for the next couple of segments. Michael Scruggs will join us for the next 2. It is the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Phillies once again looking for that suicide turn. He gets a 2 count. There's 3 and 4. 3 and 4. And that was it. Parker Phileas gets the 16-0 tech fall here. Como with a throw by, drops down to an ankle. Now he's got it up, treetops it, and there's 2. Might need to just give up the takedown. DJ Shannon getting himself into a jackpot here. Ninehouse trying to drive over. And there's the 2, and there's a count. Shannon turns right into it. Ninehouse again with back. There's a 2 count. Looking for the fall. Ninehouse chest to chest. Nice ankle pick there by Panola. Next takedown will end it. There it is. 23-8.
The sudden victory, Purdue. Oklahoma's Jake Woodley. And there's Panola, well done. And that should do it. Another throw by for good measure for Panola. And with the right time, it'll be an 8-3 decision for the Boilermaker. Thomas Panola is jacked up.
Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show at Wolfies. Last chance right now, by the way, to get your guesses in. Top 5 WNBA Purdue graduates. No Googling, please. I did solve a mystery, though, during the commercial break. We mentioned early in the show that Katie's a Kansas City fan. I'm a Bills fan. At the hotel on Sunday night, as we watched the game, I listened through the wall and heard a guy just losing his mind during the game, screaming for the Bills, and I just found out it was my good friend Michael Scruggs.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged.
Well, it was a roll. So I have to ask, before we start talking basketball, how does a guy from Knoxville, Tennessee become a Buffalo Bills fan?
Actually, my beautiful fiance is from Buffalo, and we watch the Bills on Sundays, and we watch Purdue on Saturdays, and it's just something that we've kind of adopted over the years. And I mean, we had a lot of success this year, so I was super excited to be all in, but unfortunately, we ended up on the wrong side.
I like the way you roll, man. Yeah. I like the way you roll.
Team player, totally team player.
Let's talk hoops then. Mentioned from Tennessee, you are actually a Tennessee graduate.
I was, yes.
You learned basketball under Pat Summitt a little bit.
I did. I was very fortunate at such a young age to be around her on a daily basis. I was a practice player for 3 years for her. And so just the day-to-day involvement that I had with her was just totally invaluable. And, you know, I was very fortunate at such a young age to be a part of a program that was, you know, top-notch at that point. So I owe a lot to her as well. I mean, she helped me get my first job that kind of helped me get into this profession. So I'm very grateful for that experience with her.
How many times did you get the Pat Summitt stare when you worked there?
I tried to abide by the rules. The rules were do not run the girls over. So you don't finish at the rim for a layup. You just shoot all pull-ups.
Okay.
So that was the rule.
I'm going to give you a 30-second Pat Summitt story. She was at when we played a game. It was the Big Ten SEC Challenge, and we played somebody else. Tennessee was playing. I think we beat Florida, and then she came to our hotel after the game. We weren't flying out until the next morning. So Pat, I get a call, come down. Pat's in the bar. We're all going to sit around. So I just grab my key, head down, and we have a great time. We're sitting around the table. A few pitchers fly. The end of it, she looks at everybody, says, now I know every single one of you has been drinking. You better lay some money down on the table. Reaching in my pocket, not a dime. Not a dime. And I thought, okay, Pat Summitt sitting across the table. How am I going to? I did the old fake trick. I kind of did the old, like I threw something on the table. Felt bad about it. When she passed away, I made a contribution to the Alzheimer's Fund in her memory. So I have paid my bill.
Paid it forward.
But I'll tell you what, she had more stories that night. It was unbelievable, the impact and just the number of people she knew and the respect that she had throughout basketball.
Yeah, the thing I love most about her is just like her spirit and just how caring she was for people. I mean, as a practice player, she came and embraced me on a daily basis, would ask how my classes were, how my family was, and it's just something that somebody of that stature to be that caring it sticks out, and it makes you want to be a better you. To be honest with you, it really does.
So, what drew you into coaching in the first place?
I just love the game of basketball. I did. Fortunately, high school basketball was the end for me, and I just wanted to continue to be around the game, and I was able to be around, a big time program with the Tennessee Lady Vols and be able to still be around the game and learn. And, from that point, I was able to, do a practicum with Nikki Caldwell, who was once the head coach at LSU. And, I really just wanted to, be a part of this game and be able to impact people's lives through the game of basketball.
You also never know who you're going to run into and where you're going to see him again. You were at Cleveland State when Beth Kuchar was there, right?
Yes.
Your fellow assistant coach
yes.
now. You were at Samford, Chattanooga, Marshall, Loyola. What brings you to West Lafayette? Why Purdue at this time?
I mean, I had the opportunity, Coach Versup, I'm very thankful for the opportunity that she gave me to be here. I got to know her on the recruiting trail, being at Loyola Chicago, being able to recruit in this region. And, Purdue speaks for itself. I mean, it's a big-time program, big-time stature, and it's just something that I really wanted to be a part of. And I was super, super fortunate that she gave me that opportunity. What
was the impression you had, not just of the basketball program, but of the university before you came here? Did you know a lot about Purdue?
I did. Mostly the basketball portion of it, just the history between the women's and men's basketball programs. And, it speaks for itself, honestly, when you get here. It really does.
All right, we're talking with Michael Scruggs. We're going to talk a little bit about this year's Boilermaker basketball team. It is the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. And this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Shot fake, got Demila Brown to go on it, and another miss, and another offensive rebound for Purdue, this time Ellis. Outside to Harding for three. It goes. And Purdue leads 3-0.
A lot of trapping on defense as well. 3-guard traps once the other team gets across to half court.
Ellis will try a three herself and drain it.
Once again, Illinois keeps holding Purdue to about 10 seconds on the shot clock here.
Deep three made by Madison Layden.
Plus some stingy defense, forcing turnovers and taking it late into the clock.
And that'll be an and one for Purdue. Oden with the foul.
Jada Peebles will look upon that shot selection well.
That'll be a turnover. Abby Ellis bounce pass to Terry into the lane, off the glass and in.
Jada Peebles will look upon that shot selection well.
That'll be a turnover. Abby Ellis bounce pass to Terry into the lane, off the glass and in. Off the rim, no good. Rebound Bostic. Here comes Peebles. She's working on Terry. Errant pass for Bostic. Ellis using her speed down the lane, off the glass and in. Taking advantage of that turnover. Terry swings it outside to Ellis for three. Schmack! Purdue on an 8-0 run over the last 2 minutes, looking to go into halftime with a lead, similar to what the Purdue men did against Illinois. Another bucket there for Layden. Illinois could get it back with 3.5 seconds at the minimum. Terry fires, gets it to go.
And on the other end, that's at least a 5-point swing right there for Illinois to open up the second half.
Back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfies Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. We're talking with Michael Scruggs. We'll get to Michael in just a minute, but first we're going to have our Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Both our Pro Boilers and Indiana Kitchen are boiler made. Something a little bit different this week. We're going to go back in the time capsule and tell you who is the all-time top 5 for Purdue. This is former Boilermakers in the WNBA. Number 1, everybody should have gotten that. Katie Douglas, who played more than a decade, 5,560 points during her WNBA career. Guess is on number 2. You can shout them out. Stephanie's a good guess, but not quite. Yukari Figs is number 2 at 980 points. Number 3, and this is probably one that'll trip everybody up, Stacy Lovelace, 883 points in her career. Stephanie right behind at number 4. She's at 842. And number 5, it was close between our coach and another assistant coach out there, but Lindsay Wisdom Hilton, 397 points. Katie Gearlds, 385 points. So those are your top 6 all-time scorers in the WNBA. Michael Scruggs with us. Michael, we're hoping to get some Boilermakers here in the WNBA, and that means we've got to recruit them in. You are the recruiting coordinator. Talk about your strategy as you work with the head coach to try to build this roster and get this program on the top of the conference and back in the national picture.
Well, biggest thing is just ever since Katie's been here, just her vision on how she wants to play and her style of play, and being able to find kids that fit that system. And we've had a very successful week when it comes to recruiting. We're super excited at the way we're moving forward and what we're bringing in, and just the versatility that we bring, and just our ability to be able to score the ball.
One of the things that's really apparent to me down by the bench is how much she converses and talks to you assistant coaches during the game. A lot of times coaches will get locked in. They might talk during a timeout, but there's a constant conversation right now going on the bench. What kinds of things can you help her with during the game?
Really, I'm in charge of, kind of watching the other team's offenses. So, defensively, what they're doing, what they're running, I'll try to put bugs in their ears on what they're doing or the adjustments that they're made, so we can try to make adjustments for ourselves. And, also, just being that voice, I assist with the guards and help with them. So, just trying to consistently, give them confidence, kind of help them out here and there, what they're doing wrong, both offensively and defensively. You
got a lot of guards to work with this year. This is a guard-heavy roster right now, and you've got some new faces that you've had to try to mix in. Abby Ellis, one of the players coming in, Janae Terry. How have you been able to assimilate that group into the players who have been here for a while?
I think the biggest thing is just, as a team, especially guards, we always want to be able to have a positive assist-to-turnover ratio. So, I'm always emphasizing, making extra passes, being able to move the ball, get your teammates involved. And, they've kind of all embraced that. And our ability to shoot the ball from the floor and stretch the defense is something that's really helped us.
Coach's work is never done. And last night on the plane coming home, I look across the aisle, and everybody's got their laptop out, and you're looking at game clips for the next game or the next couple of games. It really has to be when people consider the number of hours, and this is football coaches, basketball coaches, it's insane the amount of time you have to put into your job. You really have to love what you do.
Absolutely. You have to love what you do. I mean, because honestly, I don't count the hours. I don't think about the hours. I just think about the next opponent and, how we can be prepared, because the games are fun. So you want to be as prepared as possible for the games.
When you come back after a game or after a loss like last night, what do you try to instill in your players? And you had to get them. Katie mentioned that you really got after it today in practice. What's the message on a day like this when you're coming off a top 10 loss?
Well, the message is just getting better. Being able to clean up some of the mistakes that we had, being able to, really hound in on details defensively, because that's something that we're going to definitely have to be able to, we're going to have to be able to defend against Minnesota, be able to know their actions, and, that's the biggest thing for us, just trying to just continue to just get better. I mean, we're a work in progress. We got some young kids, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to get better each day.
Michael, I'm just happy you still have a voice, because after Sunday night, after I found out that was you, I wasn't sure you'd be able to talk again in your lifetime. So, hey, brother, we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
We'll get there.
All right.
Bills Mafia all day.
All right. No folding table. I'm not doing a flying. No. All right, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Head coach will join us. It's the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
He had it knocked free. Good job by Gillis to save the possession and find Sasha Stefanovic. Hustle, though.
nice 2 games. You look at his last 2, he can really score it. They will play through him in their second unit.
Here he is trying to defend Edey, but Purdue just goes over the top, and Edey's too big. Hard thing for the defense is they have to prepare for all that. As Stefanovic takes a deep 3 and hits his second already. Here he is. Well, that'll help. Bucket and a foul. Travion Williams. Roper will take a 3. And Williams with a strong 2-handed rebound.
Good defense by Sasha Stefanovic off the ball. He saw the post trap. Now they're running. Morton and hanging on rims.
Edey, good position. Right to the 2-hand jam. 2 of 11 from outside the arc. Stefanovic, he's already hit 3, make it 4. Against Wisconsin, season high 27 minutes for Roper. Gave him the start here tonight. In the corner, 3-pointer Isaiah Thompson.
You could be starting the break for the other team. Northwestern capitalizing.
You go back to the Bowie 3 at the end of the first half. It's a 15-5 run right now. But all of a sudden, Thompson is in rhythm.
Now Travion Williams, another turnover. Northwestern off to the races.
Ooh, dangerous pass by Berry. Gives it right back. The other direction. Thompson's already hit 2. Missed there. Offensive rebound and a putback from Mason Gillis. Purdue back up double figures. Williams with 9. And now a steal. Eric Hunter slaps it home. He hasn't put up many, hasn't made many. Here's Hunter. His step back from the top of the arc goes down, and Purdue has their largest lead.
They are in the danger zone here, certainly. That's an understatement, down 16. I mean, no reason to hold back at this point. Might as well put him in the game and see if he can make something happen. But
Boilermakers in Minnesota Thursday night at 7 o'clock. By the way, this is our final Tuesday show of the season. We move back to our normal night Monday starting next week, and that'll be it for the rest of the season. We have 5 shows after this one tonight. We had Michael Scruggs on in the last segment, had a lot of fun with the Kansas City Buffalo thing, but it is apparent watching you interact during games, during practices. You really get along well as a coaching staff, and you really rely on those assistant coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of teams in the country, you know, one assistant coach will be responsible for an entire team scout. You know, and that's just not how we do it. Alex does personnel, Beth does the other team's defense, and Michael does their offense. And so we're always collaborating with each other. And, you know, if I've got a question about personnel in the middle of a game, I'm going to go to Alex. If I got a question about some of the actions they're running, I'll go to Michael. And defensively, how do we need to attack them? What are they doing against us? You know, I always go to Beth, but collectively we get along. And I honestly think, you know, with any organization or any group, if you're, you know, your group up top gets along, it kind of trickles down to the team, and you know, just the camaraderie about. I mean, we give each other a hard time, we laugh, we have fun with it. You know, Beth tries to beat me on a golf course, it doesn't happen. Michael tries to beat me with the NFL teams, it doesn't happen. Alex just stays in her lane, and because she just knows what's going to happen if she does.
I think the thing that I talked to him about in that last segment, it's not just during the timeouts. You see a lot of times coaches will talk to assistants as they huddle and before they go in and talk. You're constantly talking to them during the ball game. Now, sometimes it's frustration. Like, why are we doing this? But you're always, it seems like, getting feedback in the middle of the game.
Yeah, and I've kind of told them, you know, like throughout the game, and I'm somebody who's my eyes might be on the court, but I want them constantly talking in the back of my ear. And you know, I always told my staff at Marion, like, you could rattle off 100 things, and I might not ever acknowledge one of them, but I'm always going to hear it, and in my mind, I'm processing it. And that's just how we work. And most of the time, I'm walking by those guys venting about how we didn't drop down and cover, you know, whatever, we didn't do something right. But you know, we have a good time. Every day, almost every day, I think one of us says to another person, don't we have the best job in the world? I mean, we get to coach college basketball, and we get to do it at Purdue University. What is better than that?
We can't talk about specific recruits, but in general, it seems like you're getting some great buy-in. It looks like your classes for 22 and 23 are setting up nicely. What kind of reception are you getting out now that people have seen how you're going to play, they've seen your style, they've seen the way the team plays? What are people hearing or people telling you when you try to sell your program?
That it looks fun. You know, I want to be a part of it. I love what you're building. You know, the buy-in from top down. is just there. We've had some national televised games, and we've had some really good showings on them. I think the question always was, is this NAIA coach going to be good enough to compete in the Big Ten? And I mean.
Well, you made the comment at the time that, you know, you can't win the Kentucky Derby without thoroughbred horses, and you're in the process, it looks like, of building a pretty good stable. So, you know, coaching is coaching, but you've got to, it looks like you're ramping this thing up, and a chance to really make some big leaps here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, you got to have some players to win basketball games, because ultimately, you know, down the stretch, you got to have somebody who you can just throw the ball to and get them a bucket. But right now, obviously, we're building towards the future and doing all those things, but I love the makeup of our basketball team because we do compete hard. And people, I mean, it's got to be fun to watch us compete hard every single possession.
And I think you made a great point after the Indiana game that a lot of people said, well, this is going to be a 4 or 5 year rebuilding. And it was the same thing that Joe Tiller came in when and said when he came in. He said, we're not. I don't have a 5-year rebuilding plan. The time to win is right now. This is my team. The team I have inherited is my team.
Yeah, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world right now. I wouldn't trade any of them. They, even the ones, you know, that haven't been getting the playing time, we've kind of shortened our bench a little bit, but they're locked in. I mean, they were some of our greatest leaders in practice today. They're locked in and bought into what we're trying to do because they want to be a part of that special thing and they want to be the group that gets Purdue back.
All right, we're going to talk about the upcoming opponents on the final segment of the Katie Gearlds Show. It's presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. This is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Another offensive rebound for this time Ellis. Outside to Harding for 3. It goes. Eric Purdue leads 3-0. Ellis will try a 3 herself and drain it. Shooter's touch there. A lot of short passes here from Purdue. Probably because of another so active those passes. Ellis smacks another one. Pulling it back out. And no look. Just doing a tip for 3.
This week's game plan is presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, home of the official credit union for Purdue fans. Learn more at purduefed.com. Couple of games coming up this week. Let's start with the Minnesota Golden Gophers, a team like you that has had its schedule front-loaded. A lot of tough games early on. Lindsay Whalen, the WNBA star, trying to build a program back at Minnesota. Sarah Scalia, one of the best outside shooters in the country, and we've seen her up close and personal really torch it.
Yeah, she's got stupid range. I mean, if we don't pick her up at the logo, we're gonna have a problem. She can just flat out shoot it. And I think she had 30 on us last year, hit 6 threes. We got to make sure we know where she is. They've got a couple other kids that can shoot it. Some posts inside that can score it. Yeah, they can score the basketball. A lot comes from their starting group. So we got to make sure we're locked in. And, you know, they do run a bunch of actions. I mean, Lindsay Whalen she's my favorite player in the Big Ten when I played. I loved playing against her. I loved her swag, everything about her. She's just humble and down to earth, and I love what she's trying to do in Minnesota.
What does she bring style-wise? You played against her in college, probably in the pros too, right? You had a couple of chances. What style or what does she bring besides the credibility of having been a standout in the WNBA?
Yeah, all the knowledge that she went to the Final Four with Janelle McCarville when she was at Minnesota. She won WNBA championships. She played in Europe and won championships. They run a lot of pro action stuff and a lot of different actions, so we've got to be ready for all that. You know, Michael has already sent me all his stuff, and he's put together a big list of clips I need to sort through. But they've got personnel that when they make shots from the outside, they're a really tough beat.
It's their only game in the regular season against the Gophers. Same story with Nebraska. They don't come to Mackey Arena this year. It's a Nebraska team that played a pretty soft non-conference schedule, but built some momentum, and they can put the ball in the basket.
Oh, they can score it. You know, haven't started working on them yet, but obviously I've watched them a little bit. You know, they dominated Michigan at home. They've been close in some other games at the top of the league, but a fun basketball team that spreads the floor and plays really fast. They got a good freshman post, some good transfers. You know, they just a really fun and playing in Lincoln. Obviously, they always have a good crowd, so we'll have our hands full on Sunday.
Yeah, you know it's going to be an energetic crowd in Lincoln. They like to pack that place. Great new arena. Jazz Shelley from Oregon, a transfer, has really been a big transformational part of that program too, as they try to rebuild.
You know, and talking to Abby, you know, her and Abby grew up playing against each other, so they go back a long time, and we have to make sure that our Aussie comes out on top on Sunday.
Well, by the way, Abby Ellis's family, I think, just about to head back to Australia, right?
Yeah, I think mom and sister took off today, and her friend stays for a couple more weeks.
Well, I know Abby was really happy to see him, and she really played well the last few games.
She's actually been really good for us. Struggled a little bit at Michigan, but, you know, obviously with the gauntlet of the Big Ten, she's going to bounce back just fine on Thursday for us. And, you know, we made sure that her family might come back if we can find a way into the NCAA tournament.
There you go. Katie, good luck this week. Should be a fun and really entertaining week. Minnesota and Nebraska, a couple of good challenges for you.
Yeah, sounds good, Tim. Let's get it.
And I'll even put myself on the Chiefs bandwagon for you for a week. How about that?
Chiefs, go Chiefs.
All right. Don't forget, again, our next Katie Gearlds show coming to you next Monday, back at our normal night, 7:10 for that one. Our next game broadcast coming up Thursday night, 6:45, as the Boilermakers host the Minnesota Golden Gophers at Mackey. Sunday, Purdue travels to Nebraska. We'll have that one starting at 2:45 with a 3 o'clock Eastern tip. Thanks to our engineer, Wes Scott, and our producer, Roger Forsyth. For the head coach, this is Tim Newton. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll talk to you again next week. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.